by the way, I should have a little bit of time. So again, we're talking about dream monsters and nightmares, transforming metaphors using DreamWork, BodyWork. I do want to say this. I'd forgotten to give a nod to our title and a new book that's come out. It's called Sleep Monsters and Superheroes. So one of the things that Jenay and Jennifer talked about before is that in our dreams, not only is the problem present, but also solutions. And so I love the title of this book. It's really geared toward children and adolescents. It's just a beautifully written, it's got all kinds of research-oriented articles in it, pieces that were written specifically for this book. It's a little pricey because it's put out by a university press. But I think it can be really useful to put in your library. It's called Sleep Monsters and Superheroes, Empowering Children Through Creative Dream Play. So do you hear that there's a link here to movement? I'll be happy to pass this around. I would like it back. But if you want to take a look at it, you're welcome to. So we're going to sort of skip by. We've talked about history of dream work, how to remember dreams, kinds of dreams, hints for working with dreams, a simple method, the dream report form. I will say this, that the International Association for the Study of Dreams has ethical guidelines and standards of practice specifically for dream work. That's in your packet. It's good background to have. We counselors have our own ethics and standards of practice, but that's a good resource for you as well. Packed full of information of how to, what not to do. So I really want to note that. We're not going to go over it, but I want you to know that it's in there, and it's good stuff. So how dream work works essentially is that as we hold an image of a dream in our minds, we start to process the dream through to completion. And dream images don't tend to come back because we have some kind of resolution. That's the completion part. Through just working with a dream. It's so organic, too. Like when clients know that I like working with dreams, they start bringing more dreams in. I love that. But I've asked a couple of times how many of you had clients who brought in dreams, and almost everybody raised their hands. So people want to talk about their dreams, they just don't know what to do with them. You've got some simple techniques up to this point, and now we're going to get into one that really takes people much deeper. That's the DreamWork BodyWork. So keep in mind that clients are in charge. I tend to work with adults, but I told a story here during the break. How long did it take me? 2 minutes? Is it okay to tell that story again? Do you mind if I do that? Because I think I don't know if I've told you about this, but when I first started getting into DreamWork BodyWork, I provide LPC supervision. I had a woman who came who was kind of interviewing me. It was a mutual interview for LPC supervision, and she brought her 10-year-old daughter. They had just moved into the area. I didn't get into anything else that had happened for them up to that point, but she was a single mom, and she said that the daughter had been having nightmares. And I said, do you want to take a few minutes and just see what we can do with this? I don't work with kids. I love kids. I was saying over here, if I had a whole other life I could live, I would get trained in working with kids. I just don't have that training at this point. I love working with college students and adults, but this was a great opportunity for me. So I asked the little girl to tell her dream, and it's a really simple dream. And at this point, I don't remember exactly what the dream was, but there was a ghost in the dream. So there were 3 characters. Her, the dreamer. So she got to play the dreamer, and then she got to tell her mother and me what to do as we acted out characters. So again, it was really simple. It probably took a minute per time that we acted it out, but after maybe 4 or 5 times of acting it out, the 2 times of telling it and retelling it, essentially, and each of us taking a character, she was willing to rotate characters. So the last time we acted the dream, she was the ghost. And I asked in the dream, what does the ghost want? So that's a great question, right? What does the ghost want? And she said, a hug. So I didn't follow up. I did not end up taking on this woman as an LPC supervisee, but my guess is that dream didn't happen again, because you hear the resolution of it, and that's the organic nature too of working a dream. Now, you could probably say, okay, so you see, this is much more fun than just talking about dreams. Do you hear that? It was a lot more fun. We're taking into consideration the dynamics of the body itself, and its relationship to stress, to our lives. When we actively engage our bodies, how many of you have done any kind of body work in sessions with clients? A couple of you. I want you to know, those of you who are counselors in training, there's some huge power behind having people get into their bodies and work through issues in their bodies. Those of you who have done it, you're shaking your heads yes. So if you're just learning, please, please, please find out more about body-oriented therapy. It's just so powerful. So what starts to happen then is an integration like you experienced in the last hour when we did the stand, right? The body holds our deepest wisdom too. Not this one, not the brain. The body holds our deepest wisdom, and it's through our bodies then that we have greater access to our deepest wisdom. So you noticed some differences when you moved in the character from your dream. It gave you more information than just talking about it. Now we're really beyond talk therapy now, aren't we? And helping people, what we do then is hold that space for people to heal themselves. Is that not the definition of empowerment? Isn't that what we do? So we're facilitators in this process then. Did you hear elements of psychodrama and what I was talking about too? So psychodrama has people moving through, taking on different characters, same kind of thing. So here's the link. Psychodrama was inspired by Wilhelm Reich, who used group process to bring awareness and transformation into people's lives. Psychodrama and DreamWork BodyWork both focus on how the body holds and processes different experiences that we have. DreamWork BodyWork itself is helping clients to get beyond their words, get beyond this, which can block us from getting into our deepest self and understanding more deeply what's going on for ourselves. So we're working with the body. And so here's what happens. So Jean Campbell, I have referred to her, I just adore her. She's this, she's a petite woman who's been doing this dream work, body work, because she studied under someone who had studied under Reich. So the lineage is there. I love that. She's not a psychotherapist. She has the heart of one. She was an English teacher, but really understood the power of the body. So she studied. She was already doing dream work. She studied under Hector Curia. I can't get Hector's last name. I'll get it to you later. So she studied under Hector, who was really into body work because he had studied under Reich. And it was Hector who encouraged Jean to put the two together, to have people work with their dreams through their bodies. And that's where DreamWork BodyWork has come from. as I started observing Jean, the counselor educator in me came out and said, what skills is she using? Because she's not interpreting, for crying out loud. And what I started to do is to make a list of the skills that she used. And Jennifer's going to talk about them.
So as Dr. Thompson kind of mentioned, in therapy, we hold that space for our clients. And dream body work is a lot different than dream interpretation because you're going to be holding that space. When we get someone out there being vulnerable, sharing their feelings, getting into their dreams, and actually getting into their bodies and feeling what's going on with their body, you get waterworks, you get a lot of emotion that comes up. And I'll tell you, I have a client that I currently work with in private practice who does a Jungian dream group that she's involved in every week. She does this. She brings in her journal each week to me and reads through her dreams. And we start out and I kind of meet her where she is. And we'll start out with her approach. She's like, well, I think this means that, and that means that. And she's all up here in her head. And I'm like, okay, you ready? Let's get up. And then we take it to the next part. What we're going to demonstrate later is the dream work part. She gets up so that all that is up in her head when we first initially talk about the dream. And we start doing the dream work. And then what do you think happens? There's a shift for her. The act that comes out, there's a lot more meaning that's much more personal for her when we have that session. And so as we're doing that, what do I need to have? I need to hold that space. And by using those kind of fundamental counseling skills that we all know about. So the first one, think about, when you're in therapy, it's that mirroring, that repeating, that empathy, the Rogerian, just general kind of empathy that we use. Paraphrasing, summarizing, so I heard you say that this is happening, so tell me about that. So kind of repeating kind of what they're talking about. Then reflecting that effect. So we want to get them out of here, right? And we want to get them down here and into their bodies. So really bringing up that feeling, reflecting it. So what's that feeling that you're feeling right now? Are you feeling anger? Are you feeling, tell me what you're feeling. What are you feeling there? What's going on with your body? Where do you feel it in your body? So really bringing out the affect and holding that space for them. And of course, immediacy. Because when the affect comes out, when the feelings come out, we have to be there to hold that space. So what are you feeling now? What's coming up for you? How does that relate to things going on in your life, in present day life? And then the symbolism aspect of things. So what do you think that means to you now as we've talked about this and we've worked it and we've felt it? What does that house mean to you, or the pond in the backyard? And that brings that more personal meaning and opens up so much more in that linkage to today. It's okay.
I just realized it's nice music, but it's got
No, I just can't hear her voice.
It's okay.
And then that last part that's so important is we're not interpreting the dream for them. We're not saying, well, gosh, you talked about the house. And remember what houses mean? It's the client telling you, bringing you their meaning to whatever work that you just did with them. So it's using those counseling skills that we all learned in Counseling 101 or 102 or 506 or whatever that was, and bringing it and holding the space for the client.
So when you're in that reflecting the affect and you ask them how you feel when you talk about the stream, what's going on, and they start telling you, about that, that's pretty powerful, and you got the tears. Do you ever point out and say, I'm hearing what you're saying, but
What are you noticing?
what am I, what
What are you
What are you noticing right now?
Yeah, what
Right.
are you noticing, not what I've noticed about
Yeah.
you.
Right, you're
What are you
crying
noticing? I
and
see that you're crying. I see
With
that
that
you're.
flood down your
I
head.
see that your shoulders are slumped down, or you're.
With that
What are you
mascara down your
noticing?
cheek.
Yeah. What's coming up right now for you? Take a note of what's going on with your body right now. So it's kind of that really kind of more intense, kind of focusing that you're doing with it.
What are the tears saying? Is one that I use.
Yeah. What are the tears now? What is that for you? What are your tears saying to you? What's coming
You're
up?
sort of challenging that, not just,
Yeah.
reflecting what they're
Right,
saying,
but even
what
kind
you're
of pushing
seeing.
it, really getting in there. Because we want to get to the affect. Because that's what this is really kind of part of it's about, is getting to the affect, because then we can kind of move forward with it. Because that's the solution part. What's the problem? What's the solution? What's going on for the client? And then how does monsters, kind of see us do that, and kind of where that kind of bringing in the counseling skills, it's different. So, okay.
So on pages 7 and 8 are the different counseling skills that we've just talked about too. And let's see here. So again, it's deeply personal work. Let's talk then about monsters and superheroes as symbols. And Jenay's gonna actually walk us through that.
I'm really, really, really excited about this part because as I was doing some of the research, it kind of made me think about some of my own nightmares and dreams. So, so what do you guys? You can just throw out some terms when you hear the word monster. Like, what are the things that you think of? Scary.
Intimidating.
They're intimidating. Powerful.
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
They're gonna hurt you.
Yep, they're gonna hurt you. Any others? What? Stressful. Yep. Anything else?
Gnashing teeth.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
see like hands going out like this.
Mm-hmm. And what are we, as if you can think back to kind of being a child and maybe going to your parents about, oh, there's monsters, what are some of the things that you wanted to do to those monsters? Okay.
Get rid of them.
Mhm.
Get away from them. Hurt them.
Get away from them, avoid them, hurt them. Yeah. So one of the things that research has shown is that taking time to acknowledge the monster or the enemy, maybe it will help you kind of realize maybe it's trying to tell you something. Because I think, like we said earlier, the dreams have meaning. Like if people will say, oh, I just had this little stupid dream, it doesn't mean anything. Well, there's something there that it's probably trying to tell you. So the monster's there for a reason. And actually communicating and acknowledging the monster will help you figure out maybe what that reason is. When I was using the dream report form, and I had one of my clients immediately, she was like, I had this nightmare, and you could see the fear just kind of take over her. Everything about her changed, and she kind of like went into like this little shell. She was also severely abused by her biological father, who was still very present in her life, so they were still actively working through all of that. So immediately she's like, that's the only dream I have. I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it. So she took a minute. I said, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to do it. And we proceeded, and she kind of got the courage herself to go through and fill it out. And she didn't identify, well, she said there's this monster in my dream. And she's describing it, and she's talking about all the horrible things about the monster and how she just wants to run away from it, or she wishes all these things would happen to it. And then I just kind of asked her, I said, well, how do you feel like seeing the monster? The fact that you keep having this dream and it's not going away. And that was probably the last thing I had to say for the rest of the time, because she took a moment to think about it and started to really kind of hone in. She identified the monster as her dad. And I remember her saying, the monster, it makes me feel worthless. It makes me feel like I don't need to be here anymore. It makes me feel like I'm less of a person. All of these really, really powerful things, which went into her, while she was sitting kind of in front of me and in this group. And like I said, I didn't say anything else. She kind of took it from there, and she identified what power and control this monster had taken of her through just thinking about all the things that this monster have been done to her. And so she said on her own, she's like, well, you know what? I want to take my power back. Like, I'm here because I don't want him to be in control of me anymore. And so then there was a shift in her affect. She got a little bit more strong in going through the rest of it. So that came from her acknowledging the monster and not trying to hide from it or kill it. And I know as a child it's so easy. Mom, there's a monster in my closet. Can you do something about it? And someone's there to kind of take care of it. But one of the things that I found, this was kind of like my aha moment when I was doing some research, was it says don't kill the monster. And because but sometimes monsters kind of also show us things about ourselves. They can be kind of like a mirror, kind of sort of. They have some aspects or characteristics in them that we also have, and maybe we don't like those things, so we kind of run from them. So kind of killing the monster could kind of be like killing off the aspects or parts of yourself, which could slightly disrupt the healing process.
But that's what to kill it? Is that what you actually say in a session?
Cause I don't think I responded. So I haven't had the experience of acne. Has Dr. Thompson?
I think that's there's a reflection right there. So you really wanna kill this monster. Show me, what that feels like.
And the student that I had, the monster had a knife, so they were actually going like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wanted to do that to the monster.
And then so maybe asking like what, going back to like the power and control, like what is.
And their life is controlling them.
And one question that Dr. Thompson
Probably
taught
parents
me
and
about
teachers.
that I love, which really works, is I think I'm trying to think how to say it. Tell me about what was going on in your life around the time that you had that dream.
Yeah.
And that kind of, without me interpreting, helps them kind of bring the dream and the real life experience together. So I use that one too a lot when people get stuck and they're like, can you tell me what this means? I'm like, well, let's talk a little bit about what was going on in your life around the time of that dream. So that kind of helped her usher into identifying who this monster was. And so then it goes into superhero. So what are some of the things you guys think about when you hear superhero?
Savior,
Okay, savior, yep.
powerful,
Powerful.
Protector.
Protector, yes. That's a good one.
confident,
Confident. Good. Joy. Anything else?
Unbeatable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, superhero.
resilient.
Resilient, yes.
Victor?
What is it?
A Victor?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So superheroes kind of are like the warm and fuzzies. It's kind of how I think of them. They make you feel safe. They make you feel comfortable. You kind of feel like you can rely on them. So they are there to help us find solutions. They can be people that we know, people that are really close to us. When I was doing some of the research, it said they listed sometimes, and more so from like kids, they think of superheroes as like police officers, or even I think us as counselors, we are seen as, or therapists, we are seen as superheroes or supervisors. Like we're seen as, how many of you guys have clients? Well, they want you to fix them. They want to give you all of this stuff, and then they're like, now tell me how am I supposed to get better? So I think we kind of take on that superhero role, because I even have some of my clients say, well, when I'm doing groups, well, I really need to talk to somebody about this, but I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to my therapist about it, because that's their superhero. That's kind of their safe haven. That's their protector. And then they can be unexpected resources as well for us to kind of help usher us through the process. And then, so there's a certain level of vulnerability that's associated with sharing your dreams. Because if you think about it, when you're telling someone your dreams, you're kind of telling them kind of the deeper down things that you don't outright just kind of have normal conversations about on a regular basis. So dreams, like, because they're so personal, I think some people kind of get in fear, well, if I say I had a dream about this, then people might try to interpret or judge other aspects. So when clients bring you your dreams, kind of definitely take note that they're bringing you a vulnerable piece of them. And that kind of goes back to the counseling skills and like holding that space. And they're bringing it to you because they're, there's something that makes them uncomfortable. So they're looking for us to do something with it that could help them in their treatment. Now the funny part.
You've been having fun already, right?
Yes. More fun.
Okay, so in our handout, we have an observation sheet that you are welcome to use as we do this demonstration. I'm always open to other people's observations of skills that also get used, but I'd love a volunteer. We're going to do this demonstration for about 5 minutes. We'll do a little bit of a debrief, and then time permitting, we'll get you in small groups and have one person do a little bit of examining a dream, and have a counselor and an observer just do a real quick small group, again, time permitting. So do I have a volunteer?
Do you want somebody to volunteer to share a dream?
To share a dream or a piece of a dream. We have backup. Would you be willing to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
And we've been recording, I don't know if you know, if you've been aware of that, but go ahead and turn it off.